Why, hello there. How you all doing? Happy Halloween. I hope I'm live. Am I live? Sup, Jabril? Next year, do a yokai tier list. Oh, maybe. Sounds like a good idea. Sup, Umi? How's it going? Neko-chan, happy Halloween to you. Sup, Losh? I'm glad you're here. Grave Frog, how's it going? Ellie. Okay. Chibi, Kuro, what's up? You haven't slept, Toy Box, in 39 hours, but you must catch the live stream? Oh. You should should get some sleep, bro. 39 hours is too long to stay up. Some old contemptible. Am I late? I'm not late, okay. Perfectly on time. You read the time incorrectly. You're new? What's up, new? I'm Linfamy. How's it going? What's up, Amani? How are you? All right. So the room is supposed to be all dark, okay? But unfortunately, it's still light outside, so it's not completely dark. I do have a little candle. Hopefully, as the night goes by, it's gonna get darker. I think that's how it works. That's how daytime works. Have a little candle, okay? Getting into the spooky mood. Happy Halloween, although where you are, it's November 1st already? Yeah. Where are you, Juaniva? I'm gonna be reading some folk tales. Hopefully, we can find some scary ones. Okay, gonna be reading from a book. You guys get to choose which ones to read. So I hope you choose some good ones, some nice, scary ones. Although I don't think we have too many scary ones. Get some German blinds. Well, it's not too bad. It's kind of dark in here. Before we get started, I have some Halloween candy. All right. Apparently these are pizza puffs. Pizza puffs. Let's see how they taste. Eat some, then we'll get started. You're in New Zealand? Hey, New Zealand is beautiful. All right, pizza puffs. Can you see? Oh, not bad. They do taste like pizza. It's not candy. It's not sweet. Not bad. Maybe a 6 out of 10. Oh man, when I was young, I don't know what's happened. I feel like Halloween was bigger in the past. Because I remember when I was a kid, I would go around the neighborhood. Okay, most of the houses would let you in. Like these days, if the house has no lights on, you're not supposed to knock on the door. But back in the day, they had a lot. Like all of the houses in my neighborhood, they were very welcoming. Okay, and every year we would get a lot of candy. So much candy. Yeah. And at the end of the night, you would come back to your house and you would throw down your haul on the floor and you count your candies. And you just start chowing down. I feel like these days it's not like that anymore. Halloween was a way bigger deal. Yeah, you saw that. That was your experience too. Sup, Twisted? How's it going? Does the texture feel nice? It's like a puff. It's like a puff. Not bad. Now everybody is scared of stranger danger. I remember we had a we had a scare where they said they put needles in the candy. So I don't know why you would put needles in the candies. Who are these mischievous people? Who wants to hurt kids like this? All right. There were needles in the candy? I don't think there were needles in the candy. I don't think so. Oh, razors. Oh yeah, I remember there were razors too. Yeah, apparently people were putting razors in the candy, which I think that was also a myth. That is not true. That is a folktale. Maybe we'll read about it today. The only candy with sharp items in it was from an incident where a parent was trying to kill their own children. Is that true? I feel like there are better ways to kill your child than a razor, honestly. There was a scare about drugs. There was also a scare about I remember I remember being kind of scared to go to movie theaters because they said that I think I'm kind of dating myself. They said that people put needles in the seats, needles with AIDS in them, like HIV virus. So they had HIV needles in the seats. And I was like, oh shit. So every time I went to the movie theater, I was like, I had to check the seats. A couple cases there were hypodermic needles or drugs. All right. So let's see if I can get this working. Okay. I hope you can read it. A safe way to trick or treat is to buy your own candy and switch it with your kids. Yeah. I feel like most of the time you're fine. What's up, Alessandra? Blue on gray is a bit tough. Listen. These are just links, okay? The actual stories are white. But I don't know how to. I think this is the best we can do. Can you not read these titles? All right. It's the best I can do. Hold on. How about background? I'm going to change it to this. Well, that didn't do anything. All right, give me 1 second. Turn it off. And then turn it back on. Yeah, how about this? Yeah, is it good? Let me see how the stories look. Okay. I don't want it to be white because it's gonna ruin the whole aesthetic. All right, so we're gonna keep it like this, okay? And let's see how it goes. So these are the ones that we read already in the last time we did it. All right, the one with the comments. So we're gonna try the ones that we haven't read. All right. Which ones look good? The first one, I'm going to say maybe some spirits. Yeah, a lot of these are really short ones. Okay, so not gonna be too bad. Maybe the evil spirit of Fusataro. Make the background black and the text white or red. I can make I can change the color of the background and the text, but the links I can't change the colors for. So these are links. Yeah, unfortunately. It's just how Adobe Acrobat works. All right. Say red. And I'll move this here. Revengeful spirit. Okay, we'll do that next. All right, this is good. We're good. We're good. The evil spirit of Fusataro. Okay, so they're saying the term mamono, which is translated here as evil spirit, contains also the idea of magic. All right, you ready? Let me do this. How about let me do this? It was during the Anryaku era. The district, now called Kariha-gun, was then called the province of Samizu and was governed by Kiemon of Sekiya. One evening, a fine-looking boy came from somewhere and called at Kiemon's house. He asked Kiemon to let him stay as a servant. Kiemon felt a little suspicious, but the boy, with his fine features and good manners, did not seem to be a vulgar country lad. Moreover, he was young, and his request was so earnest that Kiemon granted it and let him enter the house. Oh no. The boy called himself Fusataro. As he was amiable, he attracted everybody in the house. He spent some years in Kiemon's house, loved by everybody. However, there was one strange thing about Fusataro. Every night he went away somewhere. Where did he go, and for what business? All the people of the house talked it over. Someone followed after him one night, but he lost Fusataro's trail on the way. It was reported the next morning that a traveler had been killed at Sekiya, and a dead body was carried away. Once, in those days, Saint Dengyo came to preach in the province of Echigo and stayed one night at Sekiya. It was a very warm summer night. He was in bed, half awake and half sleeping. A warm wind blew in, and in an instant a spectre, holding a big sword in his hand, appeared by the pillow. Just at the moment that the sword touched the saint's neck, the saint turned aside, held up his scepter, and struck off the spectre's arm with it. The spectre picked up his arm and disappeared. The next morning the saint found many bloodstains here and there in the room. He followed the bloodstains. The bloodstains led him to Kiemon's house. The saint met Kiemon and told him all about the event of the night before. Kiemon guessed that it was Fusataro's doing and searched for Fusataro, but he was not to be found anywhere. But they found the bloodstains continuing from Kiemon's house up to the nearby mountain. Following the bloodstains, they came to a rock cave. Kiemon called out loudly, "Fusataro! Fusataro!" Instantly, the door of the cave was opened. Inside the cave was a bloody Fusataro, standing like a demon. "Fusataro, you are really a specter." No sooner had Kiemon spoken these words than Fusataro's knife gouged out Kiemon's left eye. Then immediately, Saint Dengyo, through his religious powers, seized Fusataro and cut his body in 3 parts. He buried the parts on a mountain that marked the border of Samizu and built a temple for Fusataro's soul there. Now it is said that there are still 3 mounds on that mountain called Kubizuka, head mound, Haratsuka, torso mound, and Ashitsuka, leg mound. Okay, that's it. That's it. Nice short story. Okay. Good job, Saint Dengyo. Thanks for saving the day. All right. Wait, are you guys okay with this color, the background color? Or should I change it back to like that darker one from before? If I change it to the darker one from before, then these links are going to be harder to see. Nice explanation for the 3 mountains. Yeah. Can I move it? Wait, stop. Stop. Cancel. I want to move you. Wait, move. Oh. You can see fine? Okay. All right, nice job, Saint Dengyo. All right, the revengeful spirit of Masakado. This is a really famous tale. Add a comment. Oh. I think I need to do comment and then it should stay. Okay. Just want to mark if when we're done. All right. The revengeful spirit of Masakado. The dying man's curse motif also occurs here. Onryo is the term here translated as revengeful spirit or vengeful spirit. It says Kanda Myojin, one of Tokyo's major shrines within its precincts, is the shrine to Taira no Masakado, leader of the unsuccessful Tenkei rebellion, during which he declared himself emperor of eastern Japan. Yujoya is a pleasure house. Musashi province is in Tokyo. Okay. This is Taira no Masakado. True. All right, ready? This is the revengeful spirit of Masakado. Masakado fought against Hidesato at Nakanogahara in Musashi province in the 3rd year of Tenkei. He was shot in the shoulder by Taira Sadamori and grappled down by Fujiwara Chiharu, and his head was cut off. Thereafter, Masakado's spirit remained on the field of Nakano and caused suffering to the people of the vicinity in many ways. In the eastern districts of Japan, Masakado's spirit effected various miracles, but to the people who had some blood connection with Hidesato, his spirit caused fierce spells. Especially in the Sano family, it was forbidden to go to the Kanda Myojin shrine, because the Sano were the descendants of Hidesato. The Sano house at Ogawa Machi in Kanda was very near the Kanda Myojin, so on the festival day at this shrine, the gate of the house was not opened to anyone. On ordinary days, every person of the Sano house was forbidden to walk in front of the shrine. He was a samurai? Yes, he was. During the Ane era, a samurai named Kanda Oribe lived at Kobinatadai Machi. This man was a descendant of Masakado and wore his crest. His close companion Sano Goemon lived at Yushima. One day, Sano dropped in at Kanda's on his way back from his official duties, as they were intimate friends. They had a good time together, and after a while, Kanda said, "I shall take you to a fine place." And he took Sano to a yujoya named Kashiwaya near Akagi Shrine. Okay, taking him to a brothel. I would call that a very fine place, yes? At the time, Sano had been wearing ceremonial dress, but it was ridiculous to go to a yujoya dressed thus, so Kanda lent Sano an informal cloak with a Masakado crest on it. While they were merrymaking at the yujoya, Sano's face suddenly turned pale, sweat poured from his brow, and he fainted in agony. In a moment, the circumstances were entirely changed. In confusion, they called for doctors and medicine. Kanda hired a sedan chair and sent Sano to his home. Kanda was so anxious about his friend that he hurried over early next morning to see him. However, Sano came briskly out of his room and said, "Last night I shivered and fainted. After shivering and fainting, I fell unconscious until they took off that cloak of yours I was wearing. When I went into bed, I immediately recovered, and now I feel just as well as usual. This probably happened because I borrowed your cloak with your crest on it. Maybe Masakado's spirit put a spell on me." So Kanda was also convinced of the power of his ancestor's spell, and he apologized to Sano for his carelessness. Okay, it wasn't too bad. Not too bad. Okay, that wasn't the actual story of Masakado then. This is just what happened a long time afterwards. Almost killing your bestie by sending a ghost after him? Yeah. All right. What looks interesting? The white rice on the pot. Does that look interesting? How about the blind serpent wife? Oh, I think we can do that. You have a face since when? Do I have a face? This is not my real face. This is my avatar. This is my human avatar. Moral of the story, be picky when wearing someone else's clothing. Especially if he is a descendant of Masakado. All right. This one seems like a nice length. All right. The blind serpent wife. Let's see how this goes. Oh. It's going to be a good one. From the picture. I already know it. I am a yokai. I'm a video making yokai. You have impressive eyebrows? Why, thank you. Thank you. You are not the first person to notice. I have amazing eyebrows. Okay, wait, hold on. The blind serpent wife. A young doctor lived at Fukaimura with his mother. One summer day, when it began showering, a beautiful girl took shelter under the eaves of the village headman's house. Although she expected that the shower would soon be over, the weather did not clear up, and by it began raining heavily. Meanwhile, the sun was going down in the west. The people of the headman's house took pity on the poor strange girl who was standing under the eaves of their house, and they kindly induced her to come inside and wait till the weather cleared. Through conversations with the girl, the headman came to know something about her, that she was a maiden and came from Higo, and so forth. Since he had been asked by the doctor's mother to find a bride for her son, he thought this girl might be appropriate. Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea, doctor. So he acted as a go-between. Everything went smoothly. The girl from Higo became the wife of the doctor of Fukae, and a child was born in due time. One day, when the doctor's mother opened the door into the wife's room, she was astonished to see a big serpent sleeping in the center of the room, coiled around the child and snoring. When he came home from a patient's house, the doctor saw his mother looking very pale, and he was so anxious to know the reason that his mother told him about his wife. He could not believe her story that his wife was a serpent, but the next day, when he peeped into the wife's room, he saw exactly the same sight that his mother had described to him. Oh, I got some pictures, guys. So here she is, looking in, seeing the snake. At last, he determined to divorce his wife. She said in her grief, "I was rescued by you at the beach some years ago. In return for your kindness, I came here in the form of a woman to serve you. I am a serpent in the pond on Mount Fugen. If you cannot find a good nurse for the baby, please come to Fugen Pond." And she left him. Oh, okay. Oh, she seems kind of nice. The doctor remembered that some years before he had rescued a white eel, which the village children had been teasing. Maybe this serpent was that eel. He searched for a nurse, but he could not find anyone. So he went to the Fugen pond with the baby, according to the wife's instructions. When he arrived at the pond, the wife appeared in the form of a woman and gouged out one of her own eyeballs. She handed it to the husband, and he gave it to the child, who licked it. And strange to say, milk came out of it. Okay, this would make a good video. Okay, I did not expect that. Did you guys expect that? The doctor was pleased at this, was he? He started back home with the baby on his back and the eyeball in his bosom. It was a dark night. The doctor met a few patrolling samurai on his way through the mountain. They became suspicious upon seeing the doctor's bosom swelling up with the eyeball, so they examined him and found a fine jewel ball. The doctor was robbed of the precious eyeball by those men. The following day, the child wept so bitterly that the father had no recourse but to go to Fugen Pond again. Then the woman, now with only one eye, appeared again and said, "I shall be blind if I give you another eyeball, but I dare do so for my child's sake." She gouged out her other eyeball, weeping. The husband returned with that eyeball. The jewel eyeball, which the patrols had taken away from the doctor, was presented to the feudal lord. It was so beautiful that the lord thought that if he presented it together with another eyeball to the shogun in Edo, he would be rewarded. So he sent his officers to Mount Fugen in search of another eyeball. The unfortunate doctor met them again on his way home and was robbed of the second eyeball. In the utmost distress, he turned back again to the pond to tell the story to his wife. Her rage was beyond description. It is said that soon afterwards, a great earthquake occurred in those parts. Okay. The end. How do you guys like that? You know what? I like that story. It had something unexpected, okay? I did not expect milk to come out of eyeballs. Yeah. Okay, I thought the snake lady was going to be the enemy here, but she seems like a kind of a good monster. Yeah, she seems pretty great. Meanwhile, those samurai did not seem great at all. Poor woman. She sacrificed both her eyes for her little kid. Hmm. Okay. All right, what did you guys want? The tengu who made rice cakes? All right, seems like a pretty short one. That was sad at the end. Yeah, true. Well, let's hope that earthquake killed those samurai. All right. The tengu who made rice cakes. Seems like a pretty short one. Okay, ankoro is a type of mochi or rice cake. The tengu who made rice cakes. My father also told me this tale. There is a small town called Matsuto near Kanazawa, and in this town there is a store that sells ankoro. That's a type of mochi. My father told me that some 100 years ago, a tengu told a very poor man living there how to make rice cakes. This tengu was very sympathetic and democratic. Although that man was very poor, he then became rich and spent the rest of his life in comfort. Every year, even now, the tengu comes once to that house. The family members make special cakes for him, and the tengu comes to the house to eat the cakes. My father said there is a miniature shrine near the shop, and there the family makes a special offering for the tengu. Rice cakes are made of rice and beans and sugar, but in this special kind, the beans are outside and the rice inside. Someone in this family always learns the recipe from a member of the older generation. Wherever I go to that town, I eat those rice cakes. You can get them at the station for 30 yen. 10 little rice cakes come wrapped in little pieces of bamboo leaf, with a paper which tells how old the tradition is. A picture of a fan also accompanies these rice cakes, because the tengu, which has red skin and a long nose, always carries a fan made of feathers. Ankoro is a special name. Sometimes it is called ankoro mochi. Rice cakes, somewhat like these, are sold in other little towns, but they are only imitation. Okay. It's a nice, cute story. Nice ad for ankoro. Yeah. Well, this was written a long time ago. I don't think they're 30 yen anymore. If you're planning to go there. Does rice cake equal onigiri? No, it's mochi. Apparently it's a type of mochi. All right. What other thing sound good? Mm-hmm. The thing you hammer. Yeah. Has anyone seen? You must have seen that video, right? Where the two guys are hammering the mochi. Well, only the one guy was hammering the mochi, but it looks amazing. Mochi is delicious. I have some mochi. Maybe I'll eat it later. What about the badger playing shamisen? Okay, this one. Hey, this is kind of weird. How come this is page 143, and this is 144, and this is back to 143. What's up with this table of contents? Any stories about Izanami? No. Nope. Okay. There's a badger one. This is a tanuki. When they say badger, they mean tanuki. What's a tanuki? Tanuki is a raccoon dog. All right. The badger that was a shamisen player. Okay. The fastest mochi maker in Japan. That video? Yeah. Have you seen that video? It's amazing. Wait, let me look it up. I'll show you. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. Hold on. All right, how do I do this? Okay. It's gonna be pretty short. Hold on. Camera. Hey. All right. Here you go. You ready? You ready? Yeah. Do it again. Wait, stop. Wait, do it. Wait, stop. Doesn't that make you want to eat it? I'm hankering for some mochi right now. Yeah, some people haven't seen it. Told you, it's awesome. All right, back to our story. This is the badger that was a shamisen player. The story is told at Sakashita in Kita Arimamura. One day, a man went out to do some shopping at Tanigawa, a little distance from this village. When he was about to cross the Arima River on the way, a badger appeared and began to wade the river. The man looked at him, counting the number of stepping stones. When the badger reached the other side, he looked back at the man, and then looked at the surface of the water. He picked up a log which came floating by. Then he put some weeds on the log and made it into a shamisen. He picked up another log and put some weeds on it again. Then it became a little girl. The man was pleased to see the badger doing such things. At last the badger put the weeds on his own head. Immediately he turned into a blind woman. After he finished disguising himself, the blind woman walked on with the shamisen in her arms, led by the girl. They looked like a true party of traveling shamisen players. Oh. The men followed after them to see what the woman would do. She went into a temple at Tanigawa and began to play the shamisen. The persons in the temple entertained the party very well, and the neighboring people gathered together to listen to the shamisen. In the meantime, the man thought how foolish the people were to be pleased when all the time they were being fooled. He went in back of the temple and poked a hole in a paper door through which he peeped. The listeners increased and it created a great hubbub. Then someone patted the man's shoulder. "What are you doing here?" "A badger disguised himself as a shamisen player," he answered. "I am waiting for a good time to expose him." But he heard a loud laugh, and he realized he was peeping into the buttocks of a horse. What? That's it? Okay. That was unexpected. Did not expect it. Oh, here's a shamisen player. Look at that cute tanuki. Here's a guy looking at the buttocks of a horse. That was good. Badger got him. Got him. Hmm. All right. What looks good? Why is this 144 and this goes back to 143? Eat the baby? Jeez. Wait, is that a story? Oh, eat that one baby? No, stop. You know what? Let's do another badger. What about 75 badgers? I'm feeling like tanuki stories right now. What? Stop. Stop. How do I move it? Oh. Adobe. Oh. I got it. All right, 75 badgers. Let's do it. We're going to get our fill of badgers. 75 badgers. About 1500 years ago, an old man and woman lived in Shimoyama-guchi. One day, the old man went to the mountains to cut trees, and the old woman stayed at home pounding soybean paste. In the afternoon... Was she doing the same thing as those people from before? In the afternoon, the red cow suddenly shied at something and, breaking down the door, rushed out of the stable. The old woman ran after the cow, trying to catch it. But when she was about to overtake the beast, it sped away, and when it had traversed some distance, it stopped a while. In such a manner, the old woman was led to Otaki-ga-naru in Miyahara, and there was killed by a badger. In those days, 75 badgers lived at Otaki-ga-naru, and they troubled the villagers sorely. When the old man came home in the evening, he learned what had happened to the old woman. Determined to get revenge on the badgers, he made a petition to the god of Ashio Shrine. Every day for 21 days he visited the shrine. On the last day, the god appeared in his dream and said, "Todarabo dog of Tsukidani is the only creature that can destroy the badgers of Otaki-ga-naru. Go to the village of Saji tomorrow to borrow the dog. Bring him back with you and make him fight against the badgers." The old man was glad to hear this. Early the next morning, he went to Tsukidani and borrowed the dog. On the way back, when they entered Enami Pass, the big dog found it difficult to pass through the rocks. Therefore, the rock at that place was called Inubasami, catching the dog. The next morning, the old man rose very early and made 75 rice balls and went out to Otaki-ga-naru. with the dog. There he let Todarabo enter the badger's den. Soon the dog came out with a badger in his mouth. The old man gave him one rice ball. They repeated the same action 74 times. At last, when there was only one badger left, the old man became so hungry that he ate the rice ball himself, instead of giving it to the dog. The tired dog was at last defeated by the last badger. The old man felt sorry for the dog and enshrined him at Shimo Yamaguchi. This is the origin of the present Inuyama shrine, the Dog Mountain Shrine. Because this 75th badger was not killed, there are badgers nowadays. Oh no! Just because he got hungry and he ate the last rice ball. All because of this guy. Yeah. He also indirectly killed the dog. What's up with this old man? Finally, a worthy adversary. The dog was Scooby Doo. He needed Scooby snacks, guys. All right, shall we do? Okay, let's do another badger one. Dankuro badger. Let's see. Stop. Stop. Move. Okay. Dankuro badger. A long time ago, a vassal of Abe Sarato fled to the mountain called Gomado Yama, following a defeat in battle, and he built a castle there. He maintained his power for a long time, but eventually his castle was captured. In the woods near the castle was a cave in which a badger lived. The villagers called this badger Dankuro. This badger was a queer fellow. When the castle fell, he stole into the castle and secured valuable utensils and treasures, carrying them to his cave. So he became the owner of abundant treasures beyond compare with any in the neighborhood. When the people of the neighboring villages were in need of utensils and the like on the occasion of weddings, funerals, or memorial services, they went to Dankuro Badger to borrow such things, and the badger was ready to lend them. But it was said that if they did not return what they had borrowed, he would refuse to lend anyone. Once, a mischievous villager borrowed some things and did not return them all. The badger was offended. Not only did he stop lending, he also did much damage to the fields of the villagers. He piled up firewood in his cave and setting it alight vanished from view. But one can still see the cave in which Dankuro Badger lived. Okay. See that? One person ruins it for everyone. You Googled the badgers and they're cute? Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let's look up tanuki. They are cute. Let's enjoy some tanuki pictures. Oh, wait. Why can't I show my screen? This is why we can't have nice thongs? Oh, yeah, is that why? Alright. I don't know how to do it. What the hell? Wait. Why can't I share my screen? Okay, hold on. No, can't do it. Well, sorry guys. No pics of Tanuki. Alright. How about this one? Burned to death by a tengu. That sounds promising. Alright. Burned to death by a tengu. A man named Motochi lived at Ishimoda in Fusataro, Date-gun. He was a rascal and indulged in drinking and gambling. He did not attend to business at home, but he robbed wayfarers at Kumnimi Pass, or he burglarized, or he killed the horses of other people, or he set houses on fire. Early one New Year's morning, he stopped in front of a mountain shrine with a gun. With a gun. He built a fire and he smoked tobacco. As the shrine was in the thick wood and the sun had not risen, it was quite dark. Then a strange bird's cry was heard on top of a tree. Motoji looked up and saw a big, long-tailed bird on the treetop. He shot his gun, but the bird still sat on the tree without moving, and Motoji thought he had missed his aim. So he shot again, but the bird still did not move. He shot 3 or 4 times continuously. Then the bird uttered a horrible cry and fell down before Motoji. The moment he thought he had got the bird stood up before him and turned into a tengu. The tengu caught him and said, "How did you dare to hit me?" And he took burning wood and touched Motoji with it. Motoji's body was burned. He cried for help. The villagers heard him. When they came there, his body was all black and only his eyes were shining. Motoji told the whole story to the astonished villagers and confessed all his sins. The villagers carried him home, but he soon died. People said to each other that he had been punished by the gods. Okay. The place where Motoji was burned to death is called Ohayashi in Okidomura. There is a little shrine there to the god Akiba. It is in the middle of a thick wood, and it is feared by the people because the tengu is said to be living there. If someone cuts the trees of that wood, there is always a fire in the village. Recently, there occurred 3 big fires, and all the houses were burned. The fires are said to have resulted from the curse against cutting down the trees in that wood. All right. Cool. Just goes to show, don't be a rascal. Look up the motivational poster, Tanuki. All right. Not bad. Oh, this looks promising. A human sacrifice. Bull-trout? Oh, where is that? Oh, damn it. No, back. Bull-trout. Gotcha. All right. Let's see. The mystery of the bull-trout. The pool in Yamanokuchi Mura, Onogun, in the province of Hida, is called Dangobuchi. In former days, it was a deep, gruesome pool full of water, but now it is known as a beauty spot with a waterfall. A long, long time ago, a villager planned to catch fish by putting ne into this pool. Ne is a strong poison made by boiling the bark of the Japanese pepper tree with ashes. They say if one puts this ne into the river, fish are poisoned to death. While the villager was boiling the poison in a big pot over the hearth in his home, a strange bonze, what is that? Came by and said to the master of the house, "You are making ne in the pot for the purpose of putting it into the pool up the river. Since this is not a good thing to do, I advise you to give up your plan." The people of the house gave him a dumpling, which they were making just at that time. The bonze ate it and went away. I think bonze is like a priest, right? Bonze? Yeah, it's like a monk. Buddhist priest is a bonze? Yeah. Bonze. Feeling suspicious of the bonze, the master followed after him. The bonze disappeared when he came to the pool in which the master was going to put the ne. After the ne was prepared, the villager dropped it in the pool despite the bonze's advice. Then an exceedingly big bull-trout came up to the surface of the water. The man caught it, and when he put it on his shoulder, its tail touched his heels. He took it home and cut it open. A dumpling rolled out from inside the fish, so it was realized that this fish had visited the house disguised as a bonze. Thereafter, the pool has been called Dangobuchi, dumpling pool, because the bonze ate the dumpling. It is believed not only in this region, but also in the province of Hida in general, that an old bull trout has power to change himself into a human being. Okay. Oh, that was cool. How do you say bonze? Bonds? Hold on. Let me look it up. Bonds?
Bonds.
Excuse
Bonds.
me? Bonds.
Bonds.
Punish that villager. True. All right. Where was that sacrifice story? Saw it somewhere. All right. Sacrifice. No. No? Wait, I thought I saw it. I saw it. Where is it? If there's no Kejoro? Sorry, there's no Kejoro, I think. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Wait, where is it? I saw it, right? I called it out. It said human sacrifice. Where was it? Human? All right. Oh, was it this one? Oh, there was another one. It was one that we haven't read. Okay, never mind. Maybe I hallucinated. Burned to death. All right, don't know. Don't know. Ah, more shenanigans. 48, 40? Huh? What's wrong with this? What happened? Oh, you saw it? Okay, we'll find it later, okay? How about the shrine built by straw dolls? All right, let's try that. On page 40, apparently. Maybe I saw into the realm of Jikoku. Yeah, I have those powers. Dolls coming alive. Oh, might be a good one. The shrine built by straw dolls. A long time ago, a feudal lord searched for a skillful carpenter in order to have a shrine built on the borders of Bizen and Bichu provinces. No laughing. But he could not find one. One day, a carpenter came traveling from a distant province. The Lord ordered why he came alone. The Lord wondered why he came alone, because all the carpenters who had come before had had many apprentices. So he asked the carpenter, "Can you build a shrine all by yourself?" Then the carpenter answered, "Yes, I can. I will take it on my own responsibility if you give me the job." The Lord granted his request. As he thought he was a rather unusual carpenter, all the people had a great interest in this carpenter. He told everybody not to come to the place where he was working until the building was completed. The Lord and all his servants were anxious to see the carpenter's work, but they let him work alone. The carpenter made rapid progress. In the daytime he worked alone, but by next morning he had done a great deal. The Lord was curious about this, and one night he secretly looked into the carpenter's working place. To his surprise, he saw 30 or 50 carpenters, identical with the original carpenter, all working busily. He tried to tell which was the true carpenter, but he couldn't. They were working hard in silence. The days passed, and the shrine was about completed. The Lord went there to give a reward to the carpenter, but he could not tell which one was the real one. He asked the one beside him, who answered, "It is the one who has a mole near his eye." So the Lord looked for the carpenter with a mole near his eye, and gave him the reward. When the shrine was entirely constructed, that carpenter went away before anyone knew about it, and all the other carpenters fell down into the valley and died. People found many straw dolls down in the valley afterwards. It is told that there was a small shrine where the straw dolls were found, and this shrine is the present Kibitz shrine. Kibitsu shrine. Okay. That was nice. Should we look it up? I can't share my other screen. I don't understand. I can't look up things, unfortunately. Hold on. Let me try one thing. Nope. What the hell? Oh, wait. Wait a minute. I got it. Let's look at the Kibitsu Shrine. Aha! Hey! Doesn't look bad. Ooh. This is awesome. Look at that. I want to go there. I want to walk down this path. Oh, look at her. She's having so much fun. Here it is at night. Wait, no. Just the sunlight. Ah, this is a nice view. Look at that. Ooh. Okay. The lantern stairs are under renovation, they say. Gotcha. Liz says, was it the princess who became a human sacrifice? Oh, was it? Ooh. Princess who became. Oh, this. Oh, here it is. Why didn't the search find it? That search sucked. This is under places. All right. Thanks, Liz. A human sacrifice at Kono Strand. Let's do it. It's a lot of comments. A human sacrifice at Kono Strand. 5 miles away from my native house in Azamura, there was a cape called Kono no Isso. It was a rocky place, bordered by a river and the sea. Many pine trees on the shore rustled in the air when the wind blew. The scenery there was very, very beautiful. When I was in primary school, I often went there on school excursions and played with my friends, picking up pebbles here and there. There was something like a pond or harbor there, which was surrounded by a ruined stone works. Beside the harbor was an old stone monument. Concerning this stone monument, I heard a story many times from my great-grandmother and my grandparents. The story is as follows. A long, long time ago, the people tried to make a harbor for fishing boats at Kono Strand. However, the western wind blew so hard, and the waves raged so high that they could not complete the task. They got together to consult how to overcome the difficulty and decided to make a human sacrifice. Great plan. Now there came an old pilgrim who had been traveling on foot from shrine to shrine, ringing a bell in his hand. He happened to hear the rumor that a human sacrifice was to be offered, and volunteered himself. In keen appreciation and sorrow, the people dug a hole deep in the ground. The pilgrim sat in it and recited sutras, ringing his bell. The people covered the hole with a board, thrusting a bamboo pipe through the board, so that the pilgrim might breathe the outside air. For 3 days and nights, the people heard the pilgrim reciting sutras and ringing his bell, but after that, they heard nothing more out of the hole. Realizing that the pilgrim was dead, they filled the hole with earth and built a stone monument on it in honor of the pilgrim. This is the stone that still stands at Kono Strand. Ooh. Oh, it's about the live burial, huh? That was never really a thing. Nice pilgrim. Wait, so can we see it? The stone at Kono Strand. Kono Strand. Nope. Japan Kono Stone. Nope, can't find it. If someone can find it, let me know. But can't find it. All right. Oh, hey. The Mountain of Abandoned Old People. Oh, okay, we gotta read this. Can't not read this. Oh, wow. The Mountain of Abandoned Old People. In ancient times, there prevailed a custom of abandoning old people when they reached the age of 60. Once an old man was going to be abandoned on a mountain. He was carried there in a sedan chair by his 2 sons. On the way, the old man broke the branches of the trees. Why do you do such a thing? Do you break the branches in order to recognize the way to come back after we leave you on the mountain? Asks the sons. The old father just recited a poem. To break branches in the mountain is for the dear children for whom I am ready to sacrifice myself. The brothers did not think much about their father's poem, and took him up the mountain and abandoned him. We shall go another way to return home, they said, and started on the way back. The sun set in the west, but they could not find the way home. Meanwhile, the moon came up and shone on the mountain. The 2 sons had no recourse but to return to their father. What have you been doing until now? He asked. We tried to go back by a different way, but we could not get home. Please kindly tell us the way. So they carried the father again and went down the mountain, following their father's instructions, according to where he had broken the branches. When the brothers returned home, they hid their father under the floor. They gave him food every day and showed him their gratitude for his love. Some time afterward, the Lord issued a notice to the people to make a rope with ashes and present it to him. The people tried to make a rope by mixing ashes and water, but no one could do it. Then the 2 brothers talked about this to the old father. The father said, Moisten straw with salty water and make a rope of the straw. Then after it is dried, burn it and present the ashes to the Lord in the shape of a rope. The brothers did just as he told them and presented the ash rope to the Lord. The Lord was much pleased and said, I feel very secure in having such wise men in my country. How is it that you possess such wisdom? The 2 brothers explained in detail about their father. The Lord heard them out and then gave notice to all the country that none should abandon old people thereafter. The 2 brothers returned home with many rewards, which delighted the old father. The place where the old father was abandoned is said to be Ubaste Yama, the mountain of abandoned old people. All right. Oh, is it the whole quitting mom thing? Yes, it is. Yeah, I did make a video about it. Yeah, this is a very common story. Yeah, you hear it. Yeah, in this case, it's an old man, but like in other retellings, it's an old woman. Yeah. Yeah, it's a so the moral of the story is that you should care and respect your elders is basically the morals. Yeah. I did look into this and it didn't really happen. this custom of abandoning old people, it didn't really happen. It seems to just be a folk story. Thank God. Seems kind of bad. Probably shouldn't do it. Yeah, there's another story. There was one story where a guy carries his father, okay, up to the mountain with his son, and he leaves the father there, and he's about to go back, but then his son starts taking the basket that he had carried his father in, and the guy's like, "Oh, why are you carrying the basket back?" And the son was like, "Oh, I'm carrying it so that I can save it for when I carry you up the mountain when you're old." Yeah, I really I really like that story. It is so cruel. Yeah. But remember, it didn't happen. It never happened. Well, I'm sure like I'm sure it has happened in like one-off cases, but it wasn't a custom. There was no custom of abandoning your parents in the mountains. Do 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 do. All right. All right. What looks interesting that we haven't read? Huh! The old man who broke wind. Well, you got to read this. I mean, all right. This is going to be the best story tonight, okay? The old man who broke wind. An old man went to the mountain to cut some firewood. A pretty yellow bird flew by, and the old man threw his axe at the bird and killed it. He cooked and ate the bird. Then a long hair grew from his navel, so he pulled it, and then he broke wind, making the sound. What? Ao ao wa chio chio goyo no takara matsu chinchikin. That's right. Oh no. I'm going to have to keep on reading that, don't I? And then he returned home and told his old wife, "Old woman, since today I can make beautiful sounds by breaking wind." Then the old woman said, "Please try to break wind now." So the old man broke wind and made the same sounds. Ao ao wa chio chio goyo no takara matsu chinchikin. The feudal lord heard of this. He sent word to the old man. "Grandfather Gombe, I hear you make interesting sounds. Try for me." So the old man went before the Lord, trembling, and the Lord repeated his command. "Gombe, break wind here." So the old man broke wind 3 or 4 times. The Lord was pleased and said, "You have broken wind very well." And he gave him much money. The old man came home and showed the money to the old woman. While they were talking happily about this, the old man next door came in and asked, "Where did you get the money?" Then the old man told him the story. And the neighbor said, "I too will go to the Lord and get money." He caught a little bird and cooked and ate it. And he went to the Lord, but he could not break wind. He just dropped feces. Ha Told you. Told you. It's going to be the best story that we read today. Not bad. Yeah, did you expect that? Bet you didn't. Mm-hmm. What about the hunters turned to rats? You just joined and that's the first thing you see? Yeah, that's right. Please do a kitsune story next. I don't know if we have. Um, we must have some, right? Okay, we'll look for it next. The hunters turned to rats. Arasemura in Kita, Akita-gun, is a village in the deep mountains, and most of the villagers live by hunting. In the mountains of this village lived so-called kodama rats, which are smaller than ordinary rats. Oh, if you know what kodama rats are, you're gonna know what's coming. Which are smaller than ordinary rats and have brown fur. In the bitter cold of the winter, these rats often burst to death on the trees with pitiful sounds. The hunters frequently hear such sounds and find the dead rats. The name Kodama may be derived from that sound. Why do these small creatures alone among the wild beasts have such a miserable existence? A tradition gives the reason as follows. A long time ago, two groups of hunters were in the mountains, where each group had a hut. One numbered 6 men who called themselves the Sugi group, and the other numbered 7 and called themselves the Kodama group. One night, a young woman came to the hut of the Kodama group and asked the men to let her stay that night because she was going to have a baby. The hunters had a taboo against women in general, not to mention pregnant women, so of course those hunters did not allow this woman to come into their hut. They thought she must be an evil creature, and the head man held his gun point blank against her. Then the woman went away regretfully. Not cool. After that, the woman visited the hut of the Sugi group and approached the men there in the same way. The hunters of that hut kindly let her in, saying, "You must have had troubles. Please come in and warm yourself by the fire." They took care of her and helped her to give birth to the baby. The woman thanked them and said to the head man, "I am not an ordinary woman. I am a mountain spirit. In reward for your kindness, I will make you catch 3 bears tomorrow morning. When the morning comes, go to the ravine below this mountain. You will find there 3 big bears in a hollow log. You can shoot them in this way." And she taught them how to shoot. She also told them to go to see the hut of the other group who had treated her badly. After she uttered those words, she went away. The hunters of the Sugi group went to the ravine as the mountain had told them, and found 3 big bears in the hollow of the big tree. After they had shot all the bears, they went over the mountain to the hut of the Kodama group. There were only guns and other tools, but no men to be seen anywhere around. When the hunters looked up, they saw on the beam of the hut 7 little rats with strange colored fur. They knew that the 7 hunters of the Kodama group had been turned into rats. So, nowadays, the hunters have a taboo against making a group of 7. Gotcha. Wait, how does that explain why the rats burst? I don't understand. Are they full of gunpowder? Yeah, Kodama are yokai rats that explode, okay? They can explode when agitated, so don't stress them out if you find one. Because folktale, that's the lesson. The lesson. The lesson they took was not true. They're telling this. I'm imagining them telling this story to kids, and they're like, "So, kids, you see, now you know. Okay, never make a group of 7." Hmm. Fox story. Are there any fox stories in here? Oh, I think we might have read them all last time. Oh, sorry. We did them all last time. The serpent suitor. Why not? Where have I been? What do you mean? I've been here. This is one of the most popular of all Japanese tales. Okay. The serpent suitor. Once there lived a village headman named Shioharain Aikawamura, Onogun. Wait. He had a lovely daughter. Every night a nobleman visited the daughter, but she knew neither his name nor whence he came. She asked him his name, but he never told her about himself. At length the girl asked her nurse what to do. The nurse said, "When he comes next time, prick a needle with a thread through his skirt, and follow after him as the thread will lead you. Then you will find his home." The next day, the girl put a needle in the suitor's skirt. When he departed, the girl and the nurse followed him as the thread led them. They passed through steep hills and valleys and came to the foot of Mount Uba, where there was a big rock cave. As the thread led inside, the girl timidly entered the cave. She heard a groaning voice from the interior. The nurse lit a torch and also went into the cave. She peered within and saw a great serpent, bigger than one could possibly imagine. It was groaning and writhing in agony. She looked at the serpent carefully, and she noticed that the needle which the girl had put in her lover's skirt was thrust into the serpent's throat. The girl was frightened and ran out of the cave, while the nurse fainted and died on the spot. The serpent also died soon. The nurse was enshrined in Ubadake Shrine at the foot of Mount Uba, and the cave of the serpent is also worshipped as Anamori-sama. If a man enters the cave with something made of metal, or if many people go into the cave at the same time, the spirit of the cave becomes offended and causes a storm. Gotcha. And then they all died at the end. No, not all of them. The girl was frightened and she ran out. Okay, yeah? What's the moral of that story, guys? Tell me. Don't poke your lover with a needle. Hero transformation. Okay, let's try that. Stop. This one? Hachiro's transformation. They all died? I guess they all died. Don't mess with other people's clothes. Okay. Hachiro's transformation. Hachiro went to the mountain on July 27th to cut trees. He was in charge of cooking lunch for the woodcutters. Hachiro caught trout in the stream behind the hut, and he broiled and ate one. It was so delicious that he ate the rest of them as well. As soon as he had eaten the last one, he became very thirsty. He drank all the water in the pail, but it did not satisfy him. He drank the water from the stream. He drank and drank, but he was still thirsty. While he was drinking, the other people saw him. They were surprised to see that Hachiro was no longer a human being. Hachiro himself knew he had changed into a snake. He made dams in Owani and Kogage and Ikarigaseki in order to create a lake for his residence. Fudo, the patron deity of Kogage, was annoyed because his home would be endangered if Hachiro had a lake there. So he turned himself into a crab and made a hole in a dam. So Hachiro was not able to realize his desire there. Damn, Hachiro. Then Dainichi-sama, the patron deity of Owani, gave Hachiro a pair of iron sandals, telling him that he should make his home where the straps of the sandals broke. Hachiro put the sandals on and traveled to a place now called Hachirogata, Hachiro Cove, where his sandals broke. He secured permission from Sankichi-sama, the patron deity of Akita, to remain there on the condition that he would present the god 1,000 loads of offish every day. Then he made a lake to live in. Up till 30 years ago, Hachiro often visited his native home. At such a time, he used to bring one bog rhubarb or one young bamboo sprout as a present, and sometimes he left his footmarks. People say that his native house remained standing between Kuroishi and Otsuki until recent years. All right. These are pretty cute drawings, you know? Okay. Moral of this one is don't drink too much water or don't eat too much fish. Yeah. All right. What looks good? What about the Tengu's sword? Do. Don't hoard food. Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. All right. You think you've read this book? Is this the one by Lafcadio Hearn? No. This is Folk Legends of Japan by Richard Dorson. It's not Lafcadio Hearn. Although I have his too. Oh, crap. Tengu's sword. All right. The Tengu's sword. This tale was told by my grandfather in Kanazawa about 15 years ago, when he was 90 years old. He had been a retainer of Lord Maeda, one of the most important daimyo of the Tokugawa period. The Red Gate, now in front of Tokyo University, marks the site of Lord Maeda's Tokyo residence. In those days, all the daimyo had to spend some time each year in Edo, in attendance upon the shogunate. This lord, for whom my grandfather was a retainer, was a 1 million koku daimyo. My grandfather was a 200 koku retainer. After the Meiji Restoration, he changed his occupation and became a rice dealer. My father was his second son. The story I am about to tell here was told me by my father, who heard it directly from my grandfather. But my father said he was not sure how many generations ago all this happened. It seems that one of our ancestors had learned a special kind of magic called ninjutsu from a tengu in the woods around Kanazawa. This ninjutsu was a popular kind of magic in the Tokugawa period, and those who mastered it could make themselves vanish simply by saying some magic words. For instance, one who knew ninjutsu could dive underwater and stay there an hour, or could run as fast as a horse. It was the custom in those days to show respect by giving a sword, so when my ancestor had learned ninjutsu, the tengu gave him a sword. It was a very special sword. I never saw it, but my father says he did. In the house at Kanazawa in the mountains, and it had about 1 inch off of the tip broken off. After my forebear received that sword, he could do whatever he wanted to, then hide himself behind a stone. As time went on, he committed some very wicked deeds, stealing money, even killing people. His bad behavior continued for a long time. Then one day, when he was working alone in the mountains, my ancestor found a farmer, dressed in a humble kimono, walking in front of him as if to block his way. After a bit, my relative became angry and took his sword to try to kill this impudent farmer. He drew his sword from his sheath to cut off the farmer's head, but when he thought he had finished the deed, the farmer suddenly disappeared from the spot. Just as suddenly, my ancestor heard laughter in the tree just above his head. Then he glanced down and saw that the tip of his sword was broken off. From that moment on, he was unable to use ninjutsu at all. A little later, he was captured by priests, sent to Osaka, and hanged. The farmer was probably the tengu. Yay. Hey, Bunny. Happy Halloween! Yay. Tengu seemed to just love teaching people things. Yep. Taught this guy a lesson. This guy just threw his grandfather under a bus. Wait, that was his grandfather, right? Yeah. Or an ancestor, not his grandfather. Happy Swalloween. More tengu? Okay, let's see. How about the tengu of Komine Shrine? Do, do, do. Do, do, do. All right. The tengu of Komine Shrine. In the early years of Meiji, there was a doctor named Kumagaya Gengyo at Date Sakimura Date-gun. His foster father, Hanbei, had an imposing look and was skillful in fishing. When he set his eyes upon a fish, it could not move. Oh, shit. In his house, a strange apparition appeared. Sometimes it made a great noise suddenly at midnight, and sometimes it spoke in the air or sang beautiful songs from the ceiling. One morning the maid got up early, opened the front gate, and saw a little man wearing a short black hunting coat and breeches, his cheeks covered with a towel, going out singing a song. But the fearless Hanbei said that such a foolish thing could not be. One night, when Hanbei was drinking sake, the cup stuck to his cheeks, and he could not pull the cup away. But when he bowed down and made apologies to the apparition, he could easily remove the cup. What a joker. From that time on, he set up a shelf for the god and offered sake and rice. Then the apparition not only did no further mischief to him, but brought him something to eat and some money for sake. So the old man respected the apparition and called it his guest. A gambler named Kintaro one night came to the old man's home to lay the ghost, but he was treated badly and went away. One New Year's Day, a doctor of Yasuhara Machi named Takagi Kenko visited the old man and was entertained with sake. On that occasion, when the conversation turned to the apparition, young Takagi boasted that he would cut it down with one stroke if it appeared there. Just at that time, the maid was mashing yams in an earthenware bowl, and the bowl flew up into the air and turned a somersault above the old man. So the yams dropped down on his head. Mr. Takagi felt uneasy, hastily said farewell, and went out. As he hastened away to the ferry of the Abukuma River, the sword which he wore came out of its sheath and floated before his face. So he could neither step forward nor go backward, because the sword moved around behind him. He was really frightened and knelt on the ground, and bowing his head, he made apologies for his harsh words. Then the sword dropped before him, and without encountering any more mysterious happenings, he returned home safely. He told later that he had never had such a fearful experience. Once Mr. Kumagaya, the old man, tried to subdue the apparition, and he asked the mountain priest to pray for that purpose. Then some invisible thing read sutras aloud behind the mountain priest, so the mountain priest was frightened. Similar strange occurrences continued for several years. Sometimes there was a fire in the chest of drawers, so the clothes were burned, or sometimes there were swords lost and later found in ditches. When someone asked the gods for an explanation of such mysteries, the gods replied that it was a tengu's doing. They said that the house of the old doctor was formerly the residence of Ozaki Daihachiro. Daihachiro liked to arrest people. When there was a person whom he thought a little suspicious, he took him to his office and subjected him to the most severe punishment. The ghosts of such people haunted him often. Sometimes a little man who covered his cheeks with a towel loitered around his house. Some men who saw this thought it must be a fox or badger's doing. This ghost haunted Daihachiro. He had nightmares every night, so he asked the Komine shrine in Shimotsuke to send him a tengu to guard his house. After that, no more ghosts appeared, but Daihachiro suffered from fever and talked deliriously, then died. During the Meiji era, his house was offered for sale, and Mr. Kumagaya bought it for his residence. The tengu could not return to Komine Shrine, and it stayed in the house. It was that tengu who did so many mischievous things. Mr. Kihei Kumagaya, who is a doctor now, living in Fusataro, Dategun, is a grandson of this Kumagaya Gengyu. Okay. It's a nice little story about a tengu haunting a house, I guess. How about Tales from the Pleasure District of Edo? I don't know if that's allowed. Which cheeks did he cover with a towel? Well, use your imagination. Do. All right, what next? What looks interesting? The bodyless horse? That looks interesting. No? Seems pretty short. What does a bodyless horse look like? The bodyless horse. In order to go to Doi village from the town where I lived, Akimachi, Akigun, Kochiken, we had to pass across an open field. In the midst of the field was a spring which was dammed up for irrigation. When we would pass by the dam, we were told that since the olden days, something there came after people with the noise chanchara, chanchara. That's the bodyless horse with small tinklers around its neck, making the sound with those tinklers. If you hear the sound, don't walk straight ahead, but clear the way for the horse. Then you will hear the sound no more. If you do not leave the way open, the bodyless horse will lean over you. One day, a man turned round when he heard that sound and saw a horse's head, just like the one you might see in a toy store in those days, coming after him, shaking up and down as if it were walking, and making the sound with the tinklers around its neck. I myself have never seen that horse, but when I was walking by there in my childhood, I was very scared from anticipation that the bodyless horse might come after me. Chanchara, chanchara. I was especially frightened in the evening when it was getting dark. Oh, okay. Oh, finally, a little bit of a spooky story, unlike the other stories that we've read. All right. Let's see. All right, what else, guys? What looks interesting? The girl who ate a baby. We read that before. You want to read it again? I don't remember this one. Or no, I think I do remember this one. The girl who ate a baby. The guy that starts with the letter H, transformation. Oh. Okay. We can do it. We'll do that afterwards. All right, girl who ate a baby. It sounds pretty interesting. Are there any stories about spiders? I didn't see it. Do, 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 do. All right, hold on. All right. The girl who ate a baby. Once upon a time, 3 young men set out on a journey. They passed fields and mountains and traveled on until they came to the gate of a Choja's house. There they saw a sign which announced that the Choja wanted the most able youth in the country for the husband of his daughter. Choja is the headman, right? Head of the village. This is good news for us. Let's go in and apply, they said, and went inside the gate. The Choja interviewed them. As they all looked like useful young men, he could not decide which one of the 3 was superior to the others. So he said to them, I have 1,000 reap rice field to the east, 1,000 reap rice field to the west, and 1,000 reap rice field to the front. Each of you shall cultivate one of these fields, and I will see who is the best worker. Each of the 3 men was determined to become the Choja's son-in-law. They had rice cooked in a pot large enough to supply 30 men, and ate it all up. Then they began cultivating the rice fields to the east, to the west, and to the front. An ordinary man might have spent 10 days cultivating one such field. These young men, however, each having 2 forked hoes in both hands, dug up the land so speedily that they finished the work easily in one day. All 3 returned from the fields at the same time. Well, I am extremely surprised at your work today. You three have the same ability. I cannot rank you. May I ask you to stay here for a while and serve us? The Choja said. The young men willingly agreed to this proposal and stayed on as servants. Quite a few days passed, but to their disappointment, the daughter of the Choja never appeared to them. They only caught glimpses of her back, so they became very eager to see the girl. One night, two of the young men conferred together, and then secretly stole into the interior of the house and peeped into the girl's room. There, the girl in white clothes, with her hair loosened, had opened the floorboards at one corner. From underneath the floor, she was about to take out a box that looked like a coffin. Frightened though the young men were, curiosity overcame their fear, and, holding their breath, they watched the girl. With a grin on her face, the girl drew a baby's corpse from within the coffin and cut off its arms with a knife. Then she began eating an arm as if it were delicious food. She spoke to the young men, saying, "Will you have some?" And she thrust out toward them an arm dripping blood. The young men were astounded. Far from wishing to become the son-in-law, they could hardly bear to stay a moment longer in such a place, and they took to their heels that same night. Now, oh, okay, yeah, they're hoeing the field. There's the girl. Doesn't look bad. She looks kind of pretty. Now, the third youth, who was making a fire in the cook stove, heard of this. He said to himself, "Well, I will look and see for myself." And he went to peep into the daughter's room. He saw a she-demon in white costume, with flowing hair, eating the blood-dripping head of a baby. At first glance, he was frightened, but when he looked at her carefully, he saw not a demon nor a snake, but a girl wearing a demon's mask and eating a doll made of mochi. What he had taken for blood was merely rouge. He thought that he could eat it himself. So he said, "Young lady, please give me one of its legs." So saying, he slid open the door and stretched out his hands. When the girl heard this, she replied, You have said just what I wanted to hear. Until now, many and many a young man has come here to be my husband, but at the sight of me they became frightened and fled. No one had enough courage to stay. You are the man to be my husband." She took off the mask and the white garment and revealed herself as a surprisingly beautiful lady. The Choja was much pleased. He invited all his relatives, acquaintances, and even servants to a great feast, on which occasion he announced the marriage of his daughter to the young man. In due time, a child was born to them, and their offspring prospered. All right. I like that. Did you guys like that? Yeah, I remember that story. It's a good ass story. The woman who ate a baby. She wanted to be a guy that was cool with her being a baby cannibal. Hey, she wanted a man with courage. Okay, Kuro. And that man certainly had courage, or he was a cannibal. All right. I think we've been going for a while. All right. How about a few more stories? And then we can end it. What's up, Zendria? How's it going? Can confirm you're an offspring that prospered. Oh, yeah. Cheers to your ancestor. How about the girl who turned into a stone? That might be good. All right. The girl who turned into a stone. Long ago, a mother lived with her only daughter. They lived quite comfortably. The daughter was about 12 years old. But she grew spoiled and always bothered the mother. One fine morning, the mother said, "Since it is such a lovely day, you may go to the sea." The daughter answered, "No, I won't. I will go to the mountain." "Well, then you may go to the mountain," said the mother. But the daughter answered, "No, I will go to the sea." Thus the daughter was always contrary. In the meantime, the mother became seriously ill. When she breathed her last, she said to the daughter, "Please bury me in the river after my death." She really meant to be buried on the mountain, which had a beautiful view, but she gave her daughter instructions contrary to her own wish, because she thought the daughter would act the opposite way as usual. However, after the mother died, the daughter felt sorry for her disobedience, and she determined for the first time to do as the dying mother had told her. She buried her mother's corpse by the river. Oh no. A year later, the river was flooded, and the mother's tomb was washed away. So it resulted that the daughter did not fulfill the mother's last wish. One day afterwards, while the daughter was going on her way to Hachimen Shrine, she was crushed by a stone that came down from heaven and was turned into the stone. Thus she was punished by the god for her disobedience to the mother. Now in Tokata Machi, by the torii that stands in the forest alongside the little stream of Katsuragawa, there is a stone shaped like a girl, but crushed flat as a frog. Okay. Obviously, the moral here is to continue disobeying your mother even after she died. She did the wrong thing here. The mother did it to herself. How about this one? The woman who loved this tree spirit. All right, let's try that. No. What? Red. That's a good moral? Hell yeah. All right. It was this. Anesaki refers to the legend of Oryu, the spirit of an old willow tree, who married a warrior but had to part from him when the tree was cut down. Oh, wait. It's spoiling us. Stop. The woman who loved a tree spirit. Fujiwara Toyomitsu was the governor of the province of Uzen about 1 to 200 years ago. Wait, no, wait, sorry. 100, wait. Ahem. 1,200 years ago. During the reign of Emperor Moma, he had a daughter named Akoya who was endowed with talent and beauty. One autumn evening, as she was playing a koto, the faint sound of a flute was heard outside accompanying the toot of her koto. Its tone was sweet and charming, as it blended in harmony with the tune of the lady's koto in the serenity of the late autumn night. The player of the flute was a noble young man in a green dress. His name was Natori Taro, and he lived at the foot of Mount Chitose. The two young people fell in love with each other. One night, the man said to the young lady, "This is the last time I shall meet you, for my life will end tomorrow. How sad I am to have to say farewell to you." As soon as he finished those words, he disappeared, and the shadow of a pine tree was seen on the sliding paper doors. Struck dumb with surprise, the lady knew not what to do, and worried greatly about the matter. At that time, it happened that a bridge over the Natori River was swept away by the flood. It was decided to cut down a big pine tree at the foot of Mount Chitose to supply the lumber for a new bridge. The villagers, never guessing that the spirit of the pine tree was the lover of the governor's daughter, called many woodcutters and had them cut down the pine tree. But when they attempted to carry the fallen tree to the Natori River, they found themselves unable to move it an inch, however hard they tried. When Akoya heard of this, she recalled the last words of her lover and hastened to the pine tree. She placed her hand on the tree and pulled the rope with the other people. Then the tree, which had stood as firm as a great rock, was easily moved and carried to the river without any difficulty. Akoya never married and lived the rest of her life alone. Many generations passed. The pine tree was succeeded by others several times over, and nowadays an old pine tree called the Pine of Akoya stands at the foot of Mount Chitose in the suburbs of Yamagata-shi. Okay. It's fine. She fell in love with the tree before it became a tree. So it's not weird at all. But why did he turn into a tree? I don't get it. He's like a spirit. I have many questions. Do the transformation one? Which one? We already did Hachiro's transformation. What about the serpent of Mount Unzen? Okay. All right. How about this is a second to the last story, okay? Then we'll finish. The Lorax always makes you think of Danny DeVito. I can see it. The serpent of Mount Unzen. Once the lord of Shimabara had a hunting entertainment with many retainers around the foot of Mount Unzen. Not getting any big game on the first day, they stopped hunting and started on their way back. One of the retainers glimpsed some large creature passing through a bamboo thicket, and he told the other people about it. As it seemed of great size, they carefully surrounded it from a distance and began to attack the monster. When they drew near, they saw two big snakes coiling about. They shot one of them to death with an arrow, but missed the other. After that incident, the crops of the fields in Shimabara district were damaged by some creature every night, and the farmers had practically no harvest. So the villagers gathered together and talked the matter over and decided to ask the Lord to let them hunt the marauder in the mountains. In the beginning, there seemed to be no effect from the hunting, for they could not even get a glimpse of what they were looking for, and every night the crops were damaged worse than before. However, they continued hunting every day without taking a rest, and one day they saw a big snake. Recognizing it as the evil creature that had done damage to their fields, they tried many shots, but could only wound it without reaching its vital spot. The wounded monster hid itself in the depths of the mountains and came out to do evil. At that time, there was a famous doctor in Tahira. He was visited by patients from the villages near and far. Not long after the hunting expedition in the mountains, a woman visited the doctor to receive treatment for a wound she had received while cutting firewood in the mountains. She came every day after that. Although the doctor harbored a slight suspicion that she was no ordinary woman, he treated her like a regular patient. After some days, her wound was healed, and she was told by the doctor that she needed no more treatments. Look at her hair. What could she be? Nevertheless, she visited the doctor the next day and thanked him for his treatment and said, As I am too poor to pay you, I beg you to excuse me from payment, but I could not go without doing something in return for your kindness. I shall not be able to pay you even in the future, but now I have something to tell in lieu of giving money. However humble a woman I may be, I pray you to believe what I am going to say now. I advise you to leave this place, because in the near future a great earthquake will occur here in Shimabara, and if you stay here, you may be killed by it. Believe me, I want to reward you by foretelling you of that event. Having said this, she went away. Although the doctor listened to her half in doubt, he felt there might be something serious in her words. He moved to his relative's home in Higo on her advice, for she had seemed to him from their first meeting to be a woman of mystery. Strange to say, not long after that, a great earthquake did occur with the eruption of Mount Unzen, and it was followed by a great tidal wave which destroyed the castle town of Shimabara and all the villages around and killed a vast number of people. That is said to be the memorable calamity called Bizan's collapse. The woman was the female serpent whose mate had been killed by the retainers of the lord of Shimabara, and who had done harm to the fields in revenge for her husband's death. She visited the doctor of Hachiro in the form of a woman to receive treatment for the wounds she had been given by the village farmers. The great earthquake of Shimabara is said to have been caused by that serpent. Damn. Okay, that was a cute story. I think the takeaway from all these stories is that, hey, if someone comes to you for help, you should probably help them. It can only result in good things. All right. Last one. What an easy way to get out of paying your medical bill. I think she's paid for herself. How much is your life worth? All right. Last one. What should it be? What should it be? Maybe one more than a page long? Make it a good one. What could it be? A mystery at Motomachi Bridge. Are there any stories about cats? Not in this one, I think. Not in this book. In other books, yes. Bridge? Mystery at Motomachi Bridge. Okay. What? Comment. Read. Read. Move. Okay. Stop. All right, last one. Let's do it. A mystery at Motomachi Bridge. In August of the second year of Showa, a typhoon hit the city of Miyazaki. It kept raining heavily, and the waters of the Oyoro River rose steadily day by day. The Tachibana Bridge across the river was built of wood. On the second day of the typhoon, it was broken in the middle, and half of it floated away. Thus, the city traffic was completely cut in two by the yellowish, swollen Oyoro, which flowed through the middle of the city. As an emergency, they used sailing boats to cross the river, but these served only for transporting people, not horses and wagons. The leading men of the city and the prefecture came together to discuss this. They decided to rebuild the Tachibana Bridge, strong and permanently, and, since this would take some time, they decided to also rebuild as temporary substitute the Motomachi Bridge, another wooden structure connecting Motomachi in Miyazaki City with Zaimoku Machi in Oyoro on the opposite bank. Although this bridge was always only a simple makeshift affair, it had served the citizens well from the beginning of the Taisho era until only a year earlier, when it had been swept away in a flood. After being rebuilt, it would again serve them until the end of World War II, a total of 20 years. It was urgent to rebuild it as soon as possible, pending the completion of a concrete Tachibana Bridge. It would have taken too long if the rebuilding of the Motomachi Bridge had been left in the hands of private contractors. The president of the Miyazaki Reservists Association at the time was Mr. Rokichi Mieno. Through his good offices, and in order to speed the work, the city authorities asked the headquarters of the 6th Division in Kumamoto to send army engineers to rebuild the bridge, and the division immediately assigned 10 engineering units to rebuild the bridge as a practice maneuver. The construction was so urgent that the soldiers worked night and day, hastening the task by floating barges on the wide surface of the river. During this time, the soldiers were quartered in houses around Motomachi and Kawahara Machi with the help of about 100 reservists living in Miyazaki. They were able to finish the work in 3 weeks. But 2 soldiers were sacrificed before the bridge was finished. It was on a day toward the end of the job, and the soldiers were working near the Motomachi bank. Suddenly, the scaffold collapsed. In an instant, 3 soldiers had fallen into the water, which was still at a high level. 1 soldier was rescued, but the other 2 never reappeared on the surface. A great commotion ensued, and the other soldiers began searching by boat all over the river, but they found no traces of their 2 comrades. Thinking the bodies might have been caught on the bottom, they searched the bottom from the point of work to the mouth of the river, but the bodies were never found. After the bridge was built, there were some who proposed changing its name to Engineer Bridge in honor of the soldiers who had worked so hard and the 2 who had been drowned. But nothing ever came of this proposal, and the bridge continued to be called Motomachi. Some time later, a rumor spread through the town that if one crossed the bridge late at night, he could hear the marching song far, far away from our motherland, and the sound of marching feet going across the bridge, but without being able to tell where the sounds came from. Because of this frightening rumor, no woman or child dared cross the bridge at night. Some of the townspeople discussed this, and the following year they built a shrine at the northern end of the bridge, dedicating it to the god of water. There they erected a memorial tablet to the spirits of the 2 sacrificed soldiers. Toward the end of the war, this bridge was again swept away by a flood, and the memorial tablet was destroyed by the war. Today, nothing is left except a lonesome fragment of the broken tablet in the underbrush of the wasteland. Okay. Well, I'm not a fan of that picture. All right. There you go. Bridge where wives are taken away? Hope not. All right. I think we're done. It's been going for a while. Oh, happy Halloween, you guys. All right. Oh, did you notice? Ooh. I sell this at my shop. No. Shop.linfamy.com. You can buy it if you want. No, you just got here. Sorry. You're a little bit too late. A little bit too late. Where can you find the list? This is from a book. Hold on. Folk Legends of Japan. Okay. You wanna buy it. At least it's dark outside. It is dark outside. Yay. Oh wait. Oh, it is dark. Yeah, that's just the street light. A list of the folk legends. There are so many folk legends. I don't know if there's like a single long list, like a full comprehensive list of all of the Japanese folk tales. Yeah. Happy Halloween, even though I broke your heart. Sorry. Find a way to mend it. I'll send you some glue. What's up, Little Mermaid? All right. Well, I guess we'll see each other next year. Next Halloween. If I had to dress up as a yokai, what would it be? I want to be a tofu boy. Yeah? Tofu kozo. If you don't know what that looks like, hold on, let me see. Hold on. Wait. I think it would be fun to dress up as that. No? I'll carry a little tofu dish around. Okay, it'll get all dirty, but I'll offer people tofu. Okay, as they go trick or treating. That'll be awesome. Can I put the book title in the description? Yes, I will do that for you. We'll do that. The real yokai were the friends we made along the way. Exactly. Hand out tofu for Halloween. Yeah. Other people hand out candy. I hand out tofu. Be different, guys. Yeah. What yokai would you be? What would you guys dress up as? What do you identify with? What yokai? It could always just be wax tofu. No, I want to be real and genuine. Okay, I would make real tofu and hand it out to trick or treaters. I don't know if they would like that. Probably not. Does Tofu Boy have a unibrow? Well, he does now. All right. A kappa. Ooh, that's a good one. All right, guys. I think we're good. I will see you next Halloween. All right. Happy Halloween, guys. Have fun. Eat some candy. Don't eat too much. All right. I love you. I'll see you next year. All right. Bye. Peace.